During the administration of President Ferdinand E. Marcos, this series replaced the NG Bagong Lipunan, a BL series that had been circulating since the mid-1970s. The goal of this change was not only monetary but also symbolic, reflecting a new national identity, rooted in the appreciation of Philippine biodiversity and heritage. The Bangko Sentral NG Pilipinas BSP wanted to emphasize the richness of the Philippines' natural environment, so they placed native plants and animals on the coins. This was a shift from earlier coins, which usually bore only political or historical figures. The obverse of the 1983 50 Sentimo Coin carries the portrait of Marcelo H. del Pilar, a revolutionary writer, journalist, and one of the leading propagandists in the movement for Philippine independence during the Spanish colonial era. His inclusion symbolized freedom of speech, courage, and national identity. Around his portrait is inscribed Republica NG Pilipinas and the year of minting, 1983. The reverse side depicts the image of the wailing orchid Vanda Sandriana, a flower native to Mindanao, often called the Queen of Philippine Orchids. This orchid was chosen to highlight the country's rich flora and promote conservation awareness. Below the flower is the denomination 50 Sentimo. The coin was made of copper nickel, which gave it a silvery appearance, unlike earlier Sentimo coins that were bronze-colored. 198350. Sentimo coins circulated widely in the Philippine economy throughout the 1980s. At that time, 50 centavos still held significant purchasing power. One could buy small items like candies, snacks, or even part of jeepney fares with it. By the late 1980s and into the 1990s, however, the coin's value began to diminish due to inflation, and it slowly became less commonly used in everyday transactions. Marcelo H. del Pilar's legacy, his image on the coin, reinforced national pride, reminding Filipinos of their fight for independence and intellectual freedom. Del Pilar's writings in La Solidaridad played a crucial role in the propaganda movement against Spanish rule. The coin also symbolized the government's attempt to connect the Filipino people to their natural environment. By featuring the wailing, the coin raised awareness of the Philippines as a biodiversity hotspot. Economic transition period. The early 1980s was a turbulent economic period for the Philippines, marked by debt crises and political unrest leading up to the EDSA People Power Revolution of 1986. Coins from this period serve as reminders of both economic hardship and resilience. 1983 50 Sentimo. Coin is no longer in active circulation, having been demonetized along with other coins of the Flora and Fauna series when the BSP introduced the new design series NDS in the. While not extremely rare, its historical significance and design make it a popular piece among collectors of Philippine coinage. This series reflected the government's campaign for a new society following the declaration of martial law in 1972. Coins and banknotes during this period bore the inscription NG Bagong Lipunan, the new society, symbolizing a political and cultural shift in the Philippines. Features the portrait of José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. Rizal was chosen because of his role in inspiring nationalism through his writings and his martyrdom in 1896. The words Republica NG Pilipinas encircled the coin along with the denomination 1. Piso. The year of minting 1976 is displayed at the bottom, bears the official seal of the Republic of the Philippines. Around the rim is the inscription NG Bagong Lipunan as part of Marcos' reformist propaganda. The coin's metallic finish gave it a strong modern appearance compared to earlier peso coins. Copper nickel cupronickel alloy, giving the coin a silvery appearance. Weight approximately 14 grams, diameter 33 millimeters, making it a large-sized coin compared to modern Piso coins. This large, heavy coin was considered quite durable, but its size made it inconvenient for daily use, leading to eventual changes in later series. 1976 1 Piso. Coin was produced in large quantities for circulation. It was minted both in the Philippines and sometimes in foreign mints through contracts. These coins circulated widely during the late 1970s and early 1980s, alongside paper bills of the same denomination. 1976 coinage came at a time when the Philippines was under martial law. The inscription NG Bagong Lipunan was not just a decorative feature, it was a political statement. Coins and banknotes served as tools of propaganda, reinforcing the idea of unity and reform under Marcos' vision of a new society. 19761. Piso coin is considered collectible, especially in uncirculated mint state condition. Circulated examples usually have low monetary value, often just a little above face value for collectors. Uncirculated or proof-like specimens can fetch higher prices, especially if preserved without scratches or tarnish. Condition-grade mint state coins are far more valuable. Historical interest collectors of Marshall, Loira coins or Rizal memorabilia value these highly. 1976 1 Piso coin stands as a reminder of a transformative period in Philippine history. It connects the legacy of José Rizal, who symbolized freedom and reform, with the controversial political era of the 1970s under Marcos. Its large size and bold inscription made it distinctive, and though it was eventually replaced by smaller, lighter coins in later decades, it remains a significant piece for historians and numismatists. In summary, the Philippine 1 Piso coin of 1976 is not just a piece of money, it is a historical artifact that reflects the culture, politics, and economic. Before the 1976 release, the Philippine peso or piso had already undergone major transformations. The peso traces its roots back to the Spanish colonial era when the Spanish silver peso piece of 8 was used in Manila trade. After the Americans took control of the Philippines in 1898, the Philippine peso was pegged to the US dollar. Coins issued under U.S. administration bore designs that reflected both Philippine culture and American sovereignty. The time of independence. In 1946, the new Republic of the Philippines began issuing its own coins and banknotes, first under the English series 19511970, and then under the Filipino series 19671974, which emphasized Filipino national heroes and inscriptions in the Filipino language. The 1976 1 Piso coin falls under the Engi Bagong Lipunan ABL series 1975-1983, which represented not just currency reform but also political messaging. During martial law, the term Engi Bagong Lipunan, the new society, was introduced by President Ferdinand Marcos after declaring martial law in 1972. It was a slogan meant to project the idea of a reformed and disciplined Philippines free from corruption and instability. The inscription appeared on both coins and banknotes starting in 1975. Thus, the 1976 1 Piso was not just an economic tool, it was political propaganda in metallic form. Every Filipino who used it carried a reminder of Marcos' governance and his vision for society. The face of the 1 Piso coin bears Dr. José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. Rizal's writings, particularly Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, awakened Filipino nationalism during Spanish rule. His execution in 1896 made him a martyr. By featuring Rizal on the 1 Piso coin, the government tapped into his universal respect across all political groups. It gave the coin legitimacy and connected the message of new society with the enduring spirit of nationalism. 1976 1 Piso coin was among the largest modern Philippine coins in circulation at the time. Its 33 mm diameter and 14 grams weight made it heavy in pockets, but also prestigious compared to smaller denominations. It was struck in copper-nickel alloy, chosen for durability and cost efficiency. The reeded edge was both decorative and functional, discouraging coin shaving, a common fraud in earlier centuries, where people filed off bits of precious metal. 1976 The Philippine economy was grappling with the effects of rising global oil prices and foreign debt. Inflation was creeping up, and the peso was gradually losing value. Large coins like the 1 Piso reflected an effort to maintain the peso's visibility as a strong unit of currency. However, because the coin was bulky, many Filipinos still preferred the 1 Piso paper banknote. Over time, this dual-use coin and paper for the same denomination led to debates on whether coins were practical for daily transactions. Some of the 1976 1 Piso coinage system improved security features and refreshed the national symbols depicted on Philippine money. The 2015 issue is one of the widely circulated years for this series. The obverse side of the 2015 1 Piso coin features José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines, who symbolizes patriotism, intellect, and reform. His profile faces left, continuing the tradition of earlier Piso coins. The inscription, Republica ng Pilipinas, Republic of the Philippines, above. The year, 2015 at the bottom. Mint mark BSP to signify it was minted under the authority of the central bank. The BSP logo updated in 2010, representing stability, integrity, and trust in the Philippine financial system. The denomination 1 Piso boldly displayed. Security micro-engraving and detailed relief work to deter counterfeiting. The 20151 Piso coin came at a time when the BSP was actively replacing older coins from the 1995 BSP Coin Series. These older coins had simpler security features and were easier to counterfeit. The NGC coins, including the one Piso 2015, were designed with better durability and updated designs that aligned with the BSP's new branding. 2015 was also significant because it was part of the BSP's continuous campaign to educate the public about the importance of familiarizing themselves with new coins to avoid confusion in transactions. It was one of the years before the transition to the new generation CurrencyThe Coin Series enhanced version. In 2018, where designs and metals changed again, José Rizal's presence on the coin reflects the Philippines' deep respect for his contributions to independence and nation building. Having him on the most used coin in daily life was a deliberate decision so that every Filipino, whether buying bread, paying for transportation, or giving change, would see a reminder of their national identity. The 2015 1 Piso coin is not considered rare in normal circulated condition as millions were minted for public use. However, uncirculated coins or those in brilliant mint state are of interest to collectors. Coins with minting errors, misaligned strikes, double dies, wrong plankets can be valuable, fetching higher prices in numismatic markets. The 20151 Piso coin is sometimes mistaken for the older 5 Piso coin by foreign visitors because of its similar silvery look and size. Many Filipinos noticed that the NGC coins were lighter and shinier than the old ones, which made them easier to identify in loose change. In street markets, the 1 Piso coin remains one of the most important units for small daily transactions, making it a coin almost every Filipino touches every day. The early 2010s, the Philippines was still using the 1995 BSP Coin Series, which had been in circulation for almost 2 decades. Over time, these coins became tarnished, easier to counterfeit, and lacked the modern security features now expected of currency. The BSP decided to launch an entirely new set of coins, introducing fresh designs and improved minting technology. The NGC series was officially unveiled in December 2013. The 1 Piso coin in this series was particularly important because it was one of the most heavily used denominations in daily transactions, whether in jeepney fares, sari-sari store purchases, or small market exchanges. 2015 coin's obverse side proudly features José Rizal, the Philippines' national hero. Rizal's choice for the 1 Piso denomination was deliberate. The BSP wanted his face to be the most commonly seen by Filipinos, keeping his ideals of reform, education, and patriotism alive in daily life. Fields and precise lettering, designed to resist counterfeiting, lower production costs compared to pure nickel. It weighs about 6 grams and measures 24 millimeters in diameter with a smooth edge. Millions of these coins were minted in 2015. To meet the demands of the Philippine economy, they were distributed nationwide through banks, retailers, and government institutions, ensuring a steady replacement of older Piso coins. In everyday Filipino life, the 1 Piso coin is indispensable. Whether paying for a tricycle ride, buying street food like fish balls, or giving change at the wet market, the coin passes through countless hands daily. Its durability ensures it can survive years of circulation. Beyond its role as currency, the coin serves as a daily reminder of the country's history. For school children, it's often the first coin they learn to identify. For vendors, it's a crucial part of exact change. For collectors, it's a gateway into the rich field of Philippine numismatics. When the NGC series entered circulation, many Filipinos initially confused the 1 Piso coin with older coins, especially because it was smaller and shinier than its predecessor. The BSP launched information campaigns to educate the public about recognizing the new designs. Many countries placed national heroes on their most used coins. George Washington on the U.S. quarter, Mahatma Gandhi on Indian rupees, just as the Philippines honors Rizal on the Piso. Many Filipinos welcomed the 2015 coin for its fresh look, but some criticized its small size and similarity to other denominations. Despite this, it quickly became a familiar part of everyday transactions. José Rizal's placement on the 1 Piso coin reinforces his role as a unifying figure. His writings, particularly Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, sparked movements for reform that eventually led to Philippine independence. By putting him on a coin millions see daily, the BSP honors his enduring influence. While common now, the 2015 issue could become more collectible over time, especially once the 83 and 1994 with a few minting extensions in the mid-1990s. Although its face value is small, it represents an important chapter in the Philippines' numismatic history and reflects both the cultural identity and economic shifts of the nation. When the coin was introduced, it was intended to replace older designs from the Bagong Lipunan series of the 1970s and early 1980s. The new series adopted a more modern look and celebrated the country's rich natural heritage. The 1995-5 Sentimo coin prominently features the Philippine flower, the wailing orchid Vanda Sanderiana, known as the Queen of Philippine Flowers due to its beauty and rarity. This symbol was chosen to highlight biodiversity conservation at a time when environmental awareness in the Philippines was gaining ground. On the obverse front side, the coin bears the inscription Republica ng Pilipinas along the top, with the year 1995 positioned beneath. The BSP emblem is not yet on this series, as it was introduced later in the NGC series of 1995 onward. The reverse backside carries the denomination 25 Sentimo, with the depiction of the wailing orchid, its petals gracefully designed to reflect the delicate balance of nature. The coin was made from copper nickel clad steel, giving it a silver-like appearance while keeping production costs low. It has a diameter of 17 millimeters and a smooth edge. While small in size, its sturdy metal composition allowed it to circulate widely in markets, sari-sari stores, jeepney fairs, and school canteens during the mid to late 1990s. Economically, the mid-1990s was a period of gradual modernization for the Philippines. The 25 Sentimo coin, though of low value, played a key role in everyday transactions, especially for exact change before inflation diminished its purchasing power. At the time, 25 centavos could still buy small candies, a piece of gum, or serve as part of bus or jeepney fares. The late 1990s and early 2000s, however, inflation rendered the 25 Sentimo less significant in daily commerce, and many coins were left unused or stored away. This natural decline in circulation means that finding 1995-5 Sentimo coins in excellent uncirculated condition today is not as common as it might seem. Collectors value them as part of the complete flora and fauna set, especially when the coin's details remain sharp and unitarnished. Historically, the 1995 mintage marks the tail end of the flora and fauna series before the Philippines fully shifted to the improved flora and fauna series and later the BSP Coin Series in the early 2000s. It stands as a bridge between traditional coin designs that honored national symbols and the more security-focused designs of modern Philip. The 10 Sentimo coin from 1968 belongs to the early years of this shift, making it historically significant as one of the first coins to carry exclusively Filipino inscriptions. Francisco Baltasar (1788–1862), also known as Balagtas, was a revered Tagalog poet. His epic Florante at Laura, 1838, is considered a masterpiece of Tagalog literature. Balagtas is often called the Prince of Tagalog poets and is celebrated for elevating Tagalog as a literary language at a time when Spanish dominated. Featuring his image on the 10 Sentimo coin symbolized a cultural renaissance. Coins became not just money, but carriers of Filipino history and identity. In the late 1960s, the Philippine peso was still relatively. The 10 Sentimo coin had real purchasing power. Jeepney fares in the late 1960s were around 10 to 15 centimos. Small snacks, candies, soft drinks, and glass bottles pan de sal often cost 5 to 10 centimos. This made the coin an essential everyday denomination. By contrast, today's 10 centimos is effectively obsolete due to inflation. Philippine coat of arms with 3 stars and a sun. National symbols: shield flanked by the American bald eagle and the Lion of Spain, representing colonial history. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Central Bank of the Philippines. 10 centimos balances Filipino nationalism. Balagtas, Filipino language inscriptions with acknowledgement of colonial past. Spain and USA heraldic symbols, minted mainly from 1967 to 1974, later replaced by the Flora and Fauna Series 1983, which again changed designs to showcase Philippine plants and animals. Because millions were produced, the 1968 issue is common among collectors. However, uncirculated coins from this year are treasured, especially for being one of the earliest Filipino series issues. Brilliant uncirculated USD. Many collectors seek the full set of the Filipino series, 1 Sentimo up to 1 peso short. The 1968 10 Sentimo coin is more than just small change, it's a piece of cultural history, marking the Philippines' shift toward national identity, honoring a literary hero, and reflecting the economy and daily life of the 1960s. In 1968, the Philippines was under the leadership of President Ferdinand Marcos, elected 1965. The introduction of the Filipino series coins, 1967 to 1974, coincided with his administration's push to highlight Filipino culture and identity. Shifting inscriptions from English to Filipino was part of a nation-building strategy, stressing independence from colonial influence. Coins became tools of cultural education, circulating national heroes and Filipino words into everyday life. During the 1960s, the Philippine peso was still relatively strong, pegged 10 Sentimo coin was 1/10 of a peso and still had practical buying power. Some common prices in the late 1960s: South jeepney fare 10 to 15 centimos, pan de sal bread rolls 1 centimo each, a bottle of soda 10 to 15 centimos. 10 centimos is almost valueless, but in 1968 it was an everyday necessity in circulation. The choice of Francisco Baltasar 1788 to 1862 was not random. He was chosen for the 10 centimo denomination because he symbolized the power of the native Filipino language. His masterpiece Florandi at Laura 1838 showed that Tagalog literature could rival Spanish works in depth and artistry. By honoring him on a coin, the government reminded citizens of the importance of Filipino heritage. Interestingly, putting a poet, not a warrior or politician, on a coin signified that cultural strength was equal to political strength. The 1968 design carried forward many colonial symbols but also embraced nationalism. Bust of Baltasar, facing left, Republica ng Pilipinas, year of issue 196. The national coat of arms, including this design, showed the Philippines was still balancing colonial past and national identity. The 1968 issue was mass-produced by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and remained in use throughout the 1960s and 1970s. It circulated widely in markets, jeepneys, sari-sari stores, and schools. The 1980s, when inflation eroded its purchasing power, it was eventually withdrawn and replaced by the Flora and Fauna series. 1983, where national plants and animals took the spotlight. The Filipino series, to which the 1968 10 Sentimo belonged, was a bridge between the English series, 1958 to 1966, which used colonial language, the Flora and Fauna series, 1983 to 1994, which embraced natural heritage. Because millions were minted, the 1968 issue is not rare, but its historical context makes it desirable in collections. Compared to previous coinages, earlier sets such as the Ng Bagong Lipunan series emphasized national leaders, historical symbols, and political movements. By contrast, the Flora and Fauna coins emphasized plants and animals native to the Philippines, such as the tamara, the Philippine eagle, and, in the case of the 10 Sentimo coin, the Philippine tarsier. This marked a cultural shift toward environmental appreciation and national pride beyond politics. The tarsier, Tarsius siricte, is one of the smallest primates in the world, often associated with Philippine forests. It became an emblem of the country's unique wildlife. By placing the tarsier on the 10 Sentimo coin, the central bank highlighted a creature that was not only endemic but also endangered. In this way, the coin was not just currency but also a silent ambassador of Philippine biodiversity and conservation awareness. The mid-1980s was a turbulent period for the Philippines. Inflation rates were rising sharply due to economic mismanagement, foreign debt, and political unrest under President Ferdinand Marcos. By 1984, although 10 Sentimo could still purchase small goods, like candies, matchboxes, or help in small transactions, its real buying power was shrinking. The production of small denomination coins, such as the 10 Sentimo, was increasingly symbolic rather than economically critical. The coin was struck in aluminum, chosen for being lightweight and inexpensive. However, aluminum also corrodes and wears quickly, meaning that many surviving specimens today show heavy signs of use. This fragility reflects the harsh economic climate. The government needed a cost-effective way to produce small denominations, even though their practical use was diminishing. The shift in design philosophy is crucial. In previous series, coins often displayed heroes like José Rizal or symbols of governance. The 1984 10 Sentimo, by contrast, emphasized nature over politics. It was part of a larger cultural narrative that recognized the Philippines not only for its history, but also for its ecological identity. During the mid-1980s, 10 Sentimo coins were still frequently used in everyday life. They were combined with other small denominations for jeepney fares, market purchases, and even for saving in small alcancía coin banks. For school children, the 10 Sentimo coin held practical value. It could buy a piece of candy or add up toward a simple snack. As the 1980s progressed, inflation eroded the coin's purchasing power. By the late 1980s, the 10 Sentimo became almost insignificant in daily transactions. By the early 1990s, its value had been reduced so drastically that it was rarely used despite still being minted. Flora and fauna series, including the 1984 10 Sentimo coin, was gradually phased out in the early 1990s. By 1998, the Bangko Sentral and Pilipinas had demonetized these coins, making them no longer legal tender. However, collectors continued to value